Now, moving over to the church in Italy. The church in Italy, victims of clergy abuse identified in Italy has been identified in Italy since 2020. Almost 4,400 people in Italy have been victims of sexual abuse by Catholic priests and church workers in cases reported since 2020. According to new figures compiled by Reed Abuso, the country's largest survivors network. The group said its findings were based on testimonies, court documents, and media investigations underscoring the absence of an official nationwide inquiry into clerical abuse. The report raises renewed concerns about how Italy's Catholic hierarchy has handled allegations that have long sustained the global church's reputation. While the Vatican has taken steps to address the crisis, Italy remains one of the few major Catholic nations without a comprehensive, independent investigation. Why has the Italian Church, despite years of exposure elsewhere, been slow to open its own inquiry? We see that according to the report, 1,106 priests were implicated alongside nuns, teachers, and lay volunteers. 4,625 recorded victims. 4,395 were allegedly abused by priests. Most survivors, 4,451, were minors, and more than 4,000 were male. Others included vulnerable adults and persons with disabilities. Only a small proportion of accused clergy faced disciplinary action. Now, out of 1,106 suspected offenders, 76 were tried under church law, 17 suspended, and 18 defrocked or resigned. Thus, this limited accountability reflects systemic gaps in church justice, a reluctance to confront internal wrongdoing. The Italian Bishops' Conference declined to comment on the figures. However, days after being criticized by the Vatican's Child Protection Commission for slow responses to abuse cases, only 81 of Italy's 226 dioceses replied to a recent Vatican questionnaire on safeguarding practices. Meanwhile, Pope Leo, who met with abuse survivors this week, urged bishops not to conceal misconduct. Yet, advocates say the gap between papal directives and local implementation remains wide. Can the Vatican's renewed pressure translate into concrete reforms, or will institutional inertia persist? Like we are seeing here, with the growing calls for transparency and justice, the Church faces a defining question. How long can moral authority stand unshaken while silence shields systemic abuse? A critical question, and the Church would need to answer that question. Now, moving on,